Who is the skibidi scientist actually? From all issues of skibidi toilets we will meet this character infrequently, but believe me, he is one of the key antagonists of the whole war. Today I will tell you what his main secret is, the terrible details of his experiments, and you will learn more about the main villain of the whole skibidi toilets universe. Let's go. For the first time the skibidist scientist appears in the 30th series. We see his robotic claw, and he himself is in a toilet made of black metal alloy, which tells us about his uniqueness and exceptional abilities. For example, the strongest of the skibidists also use black metal for their toilets, but what is his main strength? We know that G-Man is the supreme commander of all skibidi toilets, but even he understands that ordinary toilets do not have great power and agents easily wash them off. Realizing that he could not cope with the high-tech developments of agents only using primitive toilets, he created an underground laboratory. For the first time we will see it in the 16th episode, where the upper room of this laboratory is clearly visible, and we even notice the character of a scientist who is extremely similar to the skibidi, but we cannot reliably confirm that it is he who we cannot. At the end of this series we see the first technological development of the skibidists, namely the initial version of the skibidi toilet, which in the future will serve as a prototype for creating skibidi giants. But what exactly does this episode give us? By the appearance of the laboratory building, I was able to determine its location in the city. It is located in the westernmost part of this territory is the base all skibidists, because if you look at the city from a height, you will see that the western part of its outskirts are under the complete control of skibidists, and the eastern part is under the control of agents. G-Man Man tried to locate this laboratory as far as possible from the cameras. Amen. To keep the new developments of the skibidists safe, but this is only its upper part, and what the underground laboratory hides is the place where the most cruel experiments are carried out. Above the exhausted agents in the 30th episode, when the scientist himself appears, we can notice that his latest development, the skibidi parasite, crawls out of his mouth and captures the mind of the cameraman. But believe me, this is not an isolated case, because in the corner of this room we notice tortured agents whose fate awaits, and we can only guess how. And it's already been killed here. But where did the skibidi scientist himself come from? We all know that the author of this series Before the Fact Boom is a fan of the Half-Life universe images of all characters, for example, such as G-Man, taken from the original version of the game Half-Life. 2 Skibidi Scientist was no exception. His image is taken from the character of Dr. Isa Whooping Cough Numbers. But what do we know about him? Is a scientific genius and one of the key scientists in the city of Hull Life. He is the main antagonist in the game and plays an important role in the plot. External Dr. Kleiner is an elderly man with white hair, but his true age and past remain a mystery. Klein impresses a cold-blooded and slightly manipulative person whose actions are motivated by his terrible scientific research. He plays an important role in the development of technology that allows him to maintain control over the city and its inhabitants. Does not resemble anyone, however, his methods and goals can cause controversy and doubt. It all looks a lot like a skibidist scientist who is the main engine of the progress of skibidists. It is difficult to call a scientist a coward because he once even appeared on the battlefield where one of the strongest characters in the entire universe of skibidi detonates, namely the Speakerman Titan, and now he is under full outer the control of the skibidi of the scientist and the power that he himself has. Scientists can even be compared with the power of G-Man. In the last episodes, technologists and scientists of agents began to work in an enhanced mode because their existence is under threat. So we saw an antidote gun that kills parasites, and most recently saw a new type of TV men agents after the death of an agent scientist and the destruction of the antidote gun. TVI have become the main hope of the agents, but the technological race has just begun. The Skibidi Scientist daily releases new developments. So in the 42nd episode we saw a new scout's asceticism who stole the lens from the agent, and in the next issue, based on this Skibidi lens, the scientist was able to create glasses that save from TV men radiation. But how will this all affect the final battle? A couple of hours ago we learned that a skibidi scientist created a new type of skibidi giants. Just look at this spider, he has impressive dimensions, as well as goggles against radiation. The TV men were noticed, but the skibidi rocketman who, with his assistants, tried to kill the TV man Titan. But even the glasses to him did not help because Maine, with its strong radiation, was able to affect the skibidists and blow them up. At the end of this episode, we notice an infected Speaker Man Titan and helicopters flying above him in the sky. No doubt that the final battle will be one of the most striking events in which the development of the scientist skibidis will become a decisive aspect of the victory of the skibidists. What do you think the forces of the Tiwi Man agents will defeat with the Titans, or we will find out the developments from the scientist Skibidi in the coming days? Goodbye, bro.